bones. Bark and Scratch Outpost, 5835 West Blue Mound Road. Leashed pets are always welcome. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming live on the Facebook and YouTube pages. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio, and you can always hit us up on the party line. Talk or text 844-967-2789.
Dominic, one of two articles I think will go here. Paul Manafort got punked a little bit himself by Mueller, Dom. Manafort went and said, oh, poor me, Judge. I haven't had the opportunities being in prison and all to properly build my defense. According to Avery Anipol at thehill.com.
Come on, man. What about everybody else that sits behind the glass and picks up the phone and talks to their attorney across the way? What makes him any more special?
Well, Dom, he is more special, as we'll soon read. Federal prosecutors on Wednesday submitted files opposing former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort's request to delay his trial for months, a filing that reveals details of Manafort's life behind bars. Now, this one pisses me off a little bit, but I'll read on. Manafort had filed a delay to delay one of his two scheduled trials, claiming his incarceration at Virginia's Northern Neck Regional Jail over alleged witness tampering left him without adequate time to prepare for trial. But in the Wednesday filing, special counsel Robert Mueller argued that Manafort's claims do not hold up because Manafort has said in multiple prison calls that he has had full access to his files and attorneys. Perhaps Mr. Manafort unaware, but when you're in jail, sir, in prison, they record all of your outgoing phone calls. And that's not tapping of Trump Tower. That's just what happens. Here's a quote from the filing. Contrary to Manafort's assertions about his jail conditions, Manafort is in a private unit in which he can review materials and prepare for trial. The filing from Mueller's team states Manafort has access to a separate workroom at the jail to meet with his attorneys and legal teams. It continues. Visitor logs from the prisons indicate that each week Manafort has multiple visits with his legal team. I hope they're conjugal. In one of the phone calls, Manafort told the caller that he is treated like a VIP in prison.
Very important prisoner.
Has a self-contained unit with a private bathroom and shower.
What?
And is not required to wear a prison uniform according to the filing.
Boo.
He's got life better than we do.
Right? No doubt.
I mean, we've got like one full bath and two half baths. We got to share bathrooms around my house.
Three hots and a cot, man. He's got shower in a private bathroom, man. Doesn't have to wear the uni? How do you not have to wear the uni?
Dominic, the filing also asserts that Manafort has a personal telephone, laptop with extension cord for private use in his own unit, and access to all necessary documents. Manafort's attorney previously appealed for Manafort's release, saying that he was kept in solitary confinement for 23 hours per day. The former Trump campaign chairman is facing charges stemming from several alleged financial crimes related to his work before joining the Trump campaign, or perhaps during. We don't know yet.
You know what? Manafort should learn his lesson. He should be a prisoner of former Milwaukee County Sheriff David A. Clark. Then he'd really know what it's like to be locked up and how you're treated. You know? What is it about these
But doesn't Manafort
world-traveling, well-connected, wealthy hustlers that get them off?
Grifters.
But someone, selling some drugs or addicted or having some mental issues, they get chained up in a frickin' county jail.
Naked.
Terrible.
And you're just, oh, you mean the county jail? I thought you were thinking of the juvenile offenders at Lincoln Hills here in the state of Wisconsin.
Pick one.
They get feet crushed indoors, or get abused by their jailers, or get abused by other inmates.
Oh, you mean they don't get their own personal phone and computer and with extension cord and shower and bathroom? They didn't get those?
My understanding.
Oh,
I would
okay.
ask Scott Walker for his opinion on that, but my understanding, he's never visited Lincoln Hills.
A couple minutes left, 844-967-2789. Let's get to some callers. Betsy, you're up. Hey, Betsy, happy hump day. What do you got today?
You guys cheer me up. I love you.
Love you too, girl.
I tell you that.
You know, you have Melania's favorite name. Be Betsy.
Excellent. You got my text. Yeah, I don't know what to think. I'm all over the place because that's what they want us to do. We got the Supreme Court. We got our illegitimate POTUS going to meet with Putin soon. He's destroying NATO, North Korea. Oh, my goodness.
Well, let me start by saying this, Betsy. Stop worrying so much about North Korea. We've got the assurance of a handshake.
Oh, it's totally done deal. I think, perhaps President Trump might even get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, my God. This is just so, unbelievable. It really is.
No, he's strong, Betsy. We're just not used to a strong commander-in-chief. We're used to all these weak presidents.
I'm mad at Senator Ron Johnson. I just want to put that out there, that people please call your senators and Congress and tell them that they can't put the Supreme Court justice through until Trump is done with all this BS. Oh, my God. He's going to get off. Oh, my
Betsy, I will tell you this. Ron Johnson, first of all, will be a reliable yes on whoever Trump picks for the Supreme Court. If you take issue with Ron Johnson, take issue with the fact that man spent America's Independence Day in Moscow tweeting back at us, and then comes back and says, oh, the sanctions, they're not working. They're not working. And really, it's not that important an issue, the fact that the Russians sought to influence the outcome of our elections.
Oh, an election that he came out top on, ironically enough.
Well, just he and Trump, in a state that went by about 22,000 votes.
Oh, one of those states that was actually targeted by the Russians?
Yes, specifically targeted by the Russians. We are the Devil's Advocates. We're targeted by everybody. Come back with us, 844-967-2789.
In prison, dinner was always a big thing. We had a pasta course, and then we had a meat or a fish.
Everybody in here is innocent, and
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Hi, it's Scott Walker.
Scott, David Koch. How are you?
Hey, David. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm very well.
On February 22nd, 2011, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker took a call from journalist Ian Murphy pretending to be billionaire political activist David Koch.
What we were thinking about the crowds was planting some troublemakers.
You know, the only problem with because we thought about that.
You just heard Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker say he actually considered planting troublemakers. Scott Walker wrote in his book, "The fact is we never considered putting troublemakers in the crowd to discredit the protesters." He concluded by saying, "But I had made it seem like we had." Call Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Ask him if he lies to his friends, is he lying to you?
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott. Once you crush these bastards, I'll fly you out to Cali and really show you a good time.
All right, that would be outstanding.
This message paid for by the People for People Corporation.
5 9s, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's.
The NATO summit at home and abroad. I'm Michael Toscano. Restless congressional Republicans today trying to rein in President Trump a bit, with the Senate passing a non-binding resolution, 88-11, giving them more to say in how tariffs are used. Several GOP leaders also taking the time to support NATO, being sharply criticized at the Brussels summit by President Trump. And that includes House Speaker Paul Ryan.
NATO is indispensable. It's as important today as it ever has been.
Trump started his day at the summit with a tense breakfast meeting with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, telling him he wants NATO members to pay 4% of their economy's worth for defense. Stoltenberg brushing that off.
Be committed to the pledge increasing defense spending to 2%. And let's start with that.
Then Trump blasted Germany.
Germany is totally controlled by Russia because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline.
Trump got his facts wrong there, and his comments roused the ire of German Chancellor Angela Merkel.
We are the second largest donor of troops. We put most of our military abilities into the service of NATO, and we are strongly committed in Afghanistan, where we also defend the interests of the United States of America.
Chancellor Merkel's interpreter. Stocks closed sharply lower today on fears of a trade war being sparked by the Trump tariffs. President Trump today threatening new tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese products, and China threatening to hit back equally hard. The Dow Jones 4-day positive streak was halted, closing down 219 points. The Nasdaq fell 43 points, and the S&P 500 declined 20. Crews in northern Nevada are battling the largest wildfire in the country, the Martin Fire, burning over 430,000 acres, being fueled by dry and hot conditions. NASA says the fire is so large that a smoke plume can be seen from space. Croatia advancing to the World Cup final for the first time, beating England 2-1 in extra time. Croatia will face France. I'm Michael Toscano.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
Star 848.
A Nevada judge is halting the use of a drug in an execution planned for this evening, just hours before he was scheduled to die by a first-of-its-kind lethal injection mixture. Marlis Majerus is monitoring developments.
The delay was ordered by a Clark County District Judge in response to a challenge by New Jersey-based drug maker Alvogen, which says it doesn't want its product, midazolam, used in botched executions. The order is the first time a drug company has successfully sued to halt an execution in the U.S. involving one of its drugs. A previous challenge in Arkansas was unsuccessful. Scott Raymond Dozier's execution had been scheduled to take place this evening in the northeastern Nevada town of Ely. His would be the first execution in Nevada since 2006. I'm Marlis Majerus.
U.S. wholesale prices were up 0.3% in June and 3.4% for the past year. That's the fastest hike in prices in 6 years. I'm Michael Tusk.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Amazon may be building a new distribution center in Oak Creek that could provide 1,000 full-time jobs. The Journal Sentinel is citing real estate sources and plans filed with state officials in a story posted last night. The building would be located just east of Interstate 94 on the south side of Ryan Road. Reports suggest Amazon was also considering other sites, including Milwaukee's Century City, where the former Tower Automotive site is located. And Senator Bernie Sanders will be joining Senator Tammy Baldwin for a rally this Saturday in Eau Claire. The rally will be held at the Lismore Hotel, and the doors open at 8 a.m. Outside this afternoon, sunshine, and then partly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Kroot.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. I want to get it perfect.
Are you comfortable now, man? You all set?
I'm set. I'm all ready for hour 2, Dom. It's going to be a big hour indeed. About 4:30, we're going to have our friends from the People for People Corporation release a brand new educational ad helping to educate the populace right here in the great state of Wisconsin. That's going to happen in like 23 minutes.
Cannot wait, folks. Make sure you stick around. You're going to have to hear what they have created this time.
Dominic, breaking news right here in the state of Wisconsin. Molly Beck, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel Online. Wisconsin's job agency writes off a $1.1 million loan owed by De Pere businessman jailed for defrauding investors. Wisconsin's flagship jobs agency has ended its pursuit of repayment of a $1 million state loan awarded to a De Pere businessman accused of bilking millions from investors and defrauding the state's job creation agency of more than $1 million. Wisconsin Economic Development Corp., Walker's WEDIC, Chief Executive Officer Mark Hogan reported to the agency board on Wednesday that officials decided to write off the balance of the $1.1 billion loan owed by Ron Vandenheuvel, former owner of clean energy company Greenbox, because it's unlikely the agency will ever recoup the money.
Greenbox was supposed to create more than 100 jobs in exchange for the loan. Senate Minority Leader Jennifer Schilling said Governor Scott Walker's administration is letting a convicted con artist off the hook for money that is legally owed to taxpayers. After 6 years of mismanagement, damning audits, and unbelievable scandals, Governor Walker and his administration have yet to prove they can be responsible with public dollars. A spokesman for WEDC did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The jobs agency failed to run adequate checks and gave 2 awards worth more than $1.2 million to Vandenheuvel, who had not disclosed his problems to the state. Despite those omissions in 2011 and 2012, Walker's administration kept working with Vandenheuvel and Greenbox into 2014. The write-off was one of 3 WEDIC made last quarter in the fiscal year 2018, totaling $4.3 million.
That's not the first write-off. I mean, WEDIC basically cleans its books every quarter by writing off millions of dollars, and primarily, I would say, from former Scott Walker campaign contributors.
I am not clear, and I'll get to my thoughts on this. Let's finish up this article from the Journal Sentinel. Vandenheuvel was sentenced to 3 years in prison in January for conspiracy to commit bank fraud, and in a separate case, faces 14 counts of wire fraud and money laundering in connection with allegedly bilking investors out of $9 million. Vandenheuvel was released on bond but was jailed again in recent days after federal authorities reported Vandenheuvel fraudulently obtained a $20,000 loan in December from a New York lender and then spent $8,600 of that loan on the exclusive Oneida Golf and Country Club. You got to pay the golf dues, man. They don't mess around. Court records show Vandenheuvel and his family spent more than $18,000 in total at the club between September and May.
That's the off season.
While he claimed to be unable to afford an attorney and needed a taxpayer-paid public defender. Vandenheuvel, who took the witness stand to testify, said he told the lender $20,000 loan would be used for business expenses. Well, I mean, isn't the club membership at the golf course a business expense? Receipts show most, if not all, the money was used to buy equipment, golf lessons, and foods such as shrimp cocktails and tacos for Vandenheuvel's wife and children. All right, so
it's always about the children.
You gotta feed the children.
Doing it for the children.
It's for the kids.
You cannot take food out of the mouths of the children. $18,000 worth of tacos.
Why would they write this off so readily? I mean, this debt isn't that old. I mean, just lien any property he has, keep it open. If the guy ever lands on his feet, ever is able to acquire some sort of wealth, if he ever gets a paycheck for doing anything, you could garnish the wages and get a little bit back over time. It's not the point, it's the principle. Why let it go so quickly?
Because Republicans lack principles, Tom. I want to read briefly from the more comprehensive press release of Jennifer Schilling, the minority leader in the Senate. Amid concerns with Governor Walker's inability to enforce job creation contracts, observers are questioning the latest move by the Walker administration to write off a $1.1 million debt owed by a businessman convicted of fraud. The unpaid debt stems from a risky loan provided by Walker's jobs agency in 2011 to Greenbox LLC and its owner, Ron Vandenheuvel. The funds were supposed to have been used to create 116 jobs, but records show Vandenheuvel used the taxpayer-funded loan to pay down personal debts, travel to Vegas, purchase Green Bay Packer tickets, golf memberships, in a new Cadillac Escalade. That's how you get to the golf course. Now, I've got to have plenty of room for those new golf clubs. Now, we've heard the quote from Schilling, but I want to read again from her press release. Audits have revealed that Governor Walker's Wisconsin Economic Development Corp. did not report accurate information on the number of jobs created and retained as a result of its programs.
Retained my ass.
Well, it's a metric they made up, but they just don't even use it. We made it up, but we forgot to count it. I read on. It also found that the potentially uncollectible balance of loans with repayments more than 90 days past due increased tenfold between 2015 and 17 from 1.3 million to 11 million. And that's after they cleaned the books once, Dom. Democratic efforts to increase transparency, accountability, and oversight at the troubled agency have been repeatedly blocked by Republican lawmakers. Here, again, is a quote from the fine Senator Schilling from La Crosse. Given WEDC's tumultuous history and their latest inability to enforce contracts, I'm not convinced that this administration is able to protect taxpayers and hold Foxconn accountable, Schilling said. The cost to taxpayers has already increased 50% in the few short months since Foxconn was announced, and the project has changed significantly from the original agreement last fall. You know, the back of the napkin deal that Walker made. I have serious concerns Foxconn's reputation for abandoning projects and failing to deliver on their promises will leave taxpayers footing the bill again. And again, from Schilling's press release, it is unknown what steps Walker and his WEDC will take to enforce potential contract violations after recent reports revealed Foxconn's abrupt change of plans to build a smaller facility than originally promised. Foxconn is the largest state taxpayer giveaway to a foreign corporation in U.S. history.
I would say in all-time world history.
In the history of humanity,
yes.
You think, Tom?
Yes.
You might be right. It'd be hard to prove otherwise. In less than a year, the public cost of this project has increased from the original estimate of $3 billion to $4.5 billion. And Dom, I saw the other day in The Guardian, $4.8 billion.
So a 50% increase in the state subsidy to the foreign corporation, 50%. A 10% decrease in initial investment from Foxconn to qualify for the $4.5 or $4.8 billion from, what, $10 billion to $9 billion?
We very rarely see that corrected in the reporting, Don, but that's our understanding.
That's what when they get $9 billion of investment, they have met their qualifications. And, of course, the math being used of where the employment was going to come from was heavily skewed towards Wisconsin. And given its location to Illinois and Chicago, most people doubt those numbers. And let us not forget, for all of the Republican CPA investor types out there, are you ever going to invest in an operation, an opportunity that shows you a payback using current dollars and not using discounted cash flows, which accounts for the time value of money? $1 is worth
inflation.
$1 today. It is not worth $1. It is worth less than $1 tomorrow, let alone 25 or 30 or 40 years into the future.
Well, Dominic, I think that the transportation budget, where Scott Walker keeps tossing and scooping projects into the future and, you know, forgets to account for inflation.
Yeah, there's a recurring theme.
The future
here.
Cost of money, inflated cost of money. But anyways, I'm sure he'll do just fine by Foxconn, Dom. You know, he's so shrewd in his deal making.
WEDC in charge of this and writing off, again, millions more. Do we have a grand total of how much they've written off since they started lending? And do we have a number of how many jobs they've created? I'd like to know how many dollars written off per job created or retained. That'd be a fun number to know.
I'd like to know how many WEDC recipients have been indicted so far. I mean, why is Bill Minahan? Isn't there an FBI investigation going on? Minahan took the $500,000, bought the Maserati, had his loan personally shepherded through uniquely, according to the former CEO, uniquely shepherded through by Mike Hipsch, then the Department of Administration, the, top cabinet secretary.
Friend of ours.
But they can't find the underwriting packets, Tom. And the fact that he defaulted on the $500,000 didn't prevent Mike Hipsch and Walker's administration from trying to get him millions more. Just max out to the governor, Tom. Just give him some money on election day.
Day of. Maxed out day of.
And good stuff comes back.
It's amazing. Karma's a wonderful thing.
Sometimes tenfold, sometimes 50-fold. Folks, we are the devil's advocates. You give me... I can't even do the math, man. I'll give you $1, you give me 50 back, and I don't even have to pay back the original $1. What a great deal. Come back with us. 844-967-2789. I know that mathematical analogy fell flat. I blame Dominic.
Our economy's on fire. Oh my God, we're burning alive! Having a great time.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
The Western Scrub Jay. I was taking my science class on a virtual reality bird watching expedition. All of a sudden, Charlie Kane shouts, "Arr! Arr!" He had spotted the elusive black swift, a bird rarely seen in the wild. For a brief moment, Charlie had not the eyes of a 9-year-old boy. He had the eyes of an eagle.
Teachers just have better work stories. Find out how creative teaching can be at teachdfw.org. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Person who's against these regulations to keep poop out of your water and poison out of your food. If, one of their offspring had a third arm coming out of their forehead.
I would just think that would be awkward. You'd be very top heavy.
But you would be one heck of a football player.
How would they make a helmet?
All you gotta do is cut a hole in the helmet for the hand to come through and you could catch
but then
passes
you're elbowing
all over
everybody in the face every time you walk around.
Wear an elbow pad. You'd be fine.
How would you see?
You would be a heck of a football player.
Would you be an arm unicorn?
414 Wisconsin, weekdays, 2 to 3 p.m.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Melissa from Michigan. I work an extra part-time job serving lunch at my child's school, but I still can't afford to put food on our table.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pika-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
The Devil's Advocates. They refuse to do math on the radio.
And now you know why.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on YouTube and Facebook pages. You can hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the party line, talk or text, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I think there is an interesting movement afoot, putting legalized marijuana on the referendum ballot. 11 counties in the state of Wisconsin currently in some stage of putting legalized marijuana referendums on the ballot. And we found a piece here, Dom, at the Politico. Could legal marijuana tip the Senate for Democrats? That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked it, Crudy.
There's a couple of paragraphs I want to get in here. Let's start here in the body of the piece on Politico. Anti-marijuana activists scoff at the notion that legal cannabis mobilizes voters. I highly doubt marijuana is going to be a determinative factor for enough voters to change an election. Kevin Sabet, founder of the anti-legalization group Smart Approaches to Marijuana, told me by telephone from his new office in Manhattan. And really, it's a minority of people, like a big minority of people. I've never seen marijuana swing.
Like a huge minority of people.
Any kind of election, it's such a low priority vote. But those who back legalization measures say the continuing and vocal hostility of Attorney General Jeff Sessions towards marijuana, despite its popularity among groups as varied as military veterans and parents with sick children, not to mention its surging economic impact, provides all the motivation that they need to bring their constituency to the polls. Don't believe Sabet. It does, in fact, motivate voters. Rep. Earl Blumenauer, founding member of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, told me. You look at Connor Lamb's election in Pennsylvania. Connor was very supportive of medical marijuana, and it didn't have to influence very many people to be the margin in a district that was decided by fewer than 1,000 votes.
Say that again. Slow it down, because we don't do math well on the radio, Tom.
Look at Connor Lamb's election in Pennsylvania. Connor was very supportive of medical marijuana, and it didn't have to influence very many people to be the margin in a district that was decided by fewer than 1,000 votes.
That is a narrow margin. Perhaps marijuana swung the election, Dom.
And further down in the political piece, the reluctant to seize the issue, Crudy, may have something to do with a lack of party leadership. When asked for a comment for the story, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee offered a terse statement. It's another example of GOP candidates aligning themselves with Washington ahead of the voters in their states, and that's a problem for their campaigns. The problem for the DSCC is that, much like Claire McCaskill's campaign website, the organization tasked with getting Democrats elected to the Senate is still afraid to use the word marijuana. That discomfort extends down to the campaign levels as well. The natural tendency of consultants is to try to fit 30-second ads into a broad box of poll-tested messages as possible. Every media consultant knows how to do a healthcare ad, jobs ad, climate ad, but marijuana requires a level of public opinion research to do right that simply doesn't fit into the standard polling and focus grouping that candidates do. There's no readily available research like there is on healthcare, jobs, etc. to say, okay, marijuana polls well, and here's how to message it so it moves votes for a candidate.
You know who I've heard do that topic very well, messaging-wise?
Who?
The People for People Corporation, Sanjay Gupta, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. They utilized an interview you did right here on the Devil's Advocates about medical marijuana, at least, Tom. It seemed very moving to me.
Well, marijuana can help with the opioid addiction. Finishing up Blumenauer here on the political piece. The people who handle politicians, campaign managers, consultants, pollsters, they're risk averse. It's a new issue, and they don't think they have to deal with it. And it's just stupid.
Well, it sounds like how they've dealt with Resistance Radio.
They should deal with it. No, this is, of course, a great issue. And how many ways you want to look at it? There's 1,000 ways to tear this thing down. I mean, it's a freedom issue.
17,000 jobs created.
17,000 jobs, $200 to $250 million a year in state revenue to the state of Wisconsin on what, $1 billion gross? And it doesn't require WEDC to be dishing out money to campaign supporters of Governor Walker that'll eventually get written off. And it doesn't require us to go into hock to the next generation for $4.5 billion on a deal that's already changed 3 times since it was written on the back of the napkin.
Medical marijuana legalization, polling-wise, it's around 90% support. Recreational marijuana, depending on who's polled, about 55 to 65. Which begs the question, here in the state of Wisconsin, well, we know Ron Johnson's anti-marijuana because a 7th grader asked him a tough question one time. What about Tammy Baldwin?
Who?
Oh, yeah. Who? Tammy who? Come back with us. I'll answer the question. She's got a strong stance for pro-medical marijuana. Thank goodness we've only got legalized recreational marijuana on the top of the ballot, referendum style. 11 working on 12 counties right here in the state of Wisconsin. And we got a senator and a Dem gubernatorial frontrunner right now who share the attitude, no legalized marijuana, at least not recreationally.
That's not okay. We should confirm that with the campaign.
Be cautious, consultants. Be very, very cautious. Hate to get out there on this issue. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates.
Hey, you want to get high, man?
Mike, that's a very good question.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Here's how you get them. If someone invites you for a cocktail, you bring them beer. If someone invites you to dinner, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on, and he gets off and he makes a speech. But, he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A firefighter has died from injuries he received in a natural gas explosion in Sun Prairie last night. Another firefighter is in the hospital in critical condition. The explosion destroyed several buildings in the downtown area. A contractor struck a natural gas main shortly before the explosion. And Amazon may be building a new distribution center in Oak Creek that could provide 1,000 full-time jobs. The Journal-Sentinel is citing real estate sources and plans filed with state officials in a story posted last night. The building would be located just east of Interstate 94 on the south side of Ryan Road. Outside this afternoon, sunshine and then partly cloudy tonight, lows tonight in the mid-60s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Charged, never convicted. Dom and Croat are the devil's advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. We welcome back a fine sponsor and a guest. It's Philip D. Salvia, Esquire. Do you mind if I call you Conquistador? Or do you prefer Phil?
I prefer Mr. Salvia, Esquire. But thank you once again, Michael, Brian. It's always a pleasure to join you in the Wisconsin's Resistance Radio studios.
Well, Mr. Salvia, Esquire, we've been talking here on the show about the topic of legalized marijuana. We know that your organization did a fine messaging campaign to the electorate, the voters, the population here in the state of Wisconsin, advocating for the legalization of medical marijuana at a minimum because of all of the health benefits, especially in helping to fight the opioid epidemic here in our nation. Other organizations, Dom, apparently, Mr. Salvia Esquire, apparently find it difficult to message on the topic of marijuana. Your fine organization had no such qualms.
Crudy, the medical, the availability of information regarding marijuana and its medical benefits are not in dispute. It is specifically, in the course of my discussion with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, he laid it out very clearly, and of course we played that in that advertisement. It can help with pain. Marijuana can, strictly with pain. Any kind of pain. Doesn't have to be necessarily related to opioid, but it helps with pain. That is a fact. Number two, it can help with the withdrawal symptoms of addicts when trying to kick the opioid habit. And number three, it can help physically, and this is to be determined, but it seems to help physically regenerate the part of the brain that is physically damaged by the opioid abuse. This is a healing plant, and if it could do such wonderful things for those people who are addicted or in pain, it should be available to anybody at any time they want.
Well, Mr. Salvia Esquire, I have recently seen some social media postings bemoaning the fact that the Democratic Party and those that might be supportive of the cause of the Democratic Party are not doing any effective messaging. We know the governor of the state of Wisconsin is out there pushing ads. You know, he's the education governor. I don't know if you are aware of that. You might not draw that conclusion on your own, but if you've watched the ads, that's the conclusion you would draw from the ads being run by the Friends of Scott Walker campaign.
Well, he's as much the education governor as he is the roads governor or the cannabis governor or the good governance governor. Those things he is not.
Well, I've noted that your organization, the People for People Corporation, has been especially strong at messaging. And when I see posts out there on the social mediums and people say no one is educating the populace of the state of Wisconsin, no one is pushing back, no one is messaging, I have to respond. Well, our fine sponsors here at Resistance Radio, WRD, WTTN, the Devil's Advocates, our fine sponsors, the People for People Corporation, they're doing their part. And I understand, Mr. Salvia Esquire, the production team has crafted a new message for the people here in the state of Wisconsin, the citizen tree. What's the topic, Mr. Salvia?
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you and the team here at WRRD Resistance Radio. It's always a pleasure to come in, and I know that when we get our messaging out, it hits a lot of people, and they're able to then reinforce that messaging and tell other people and educate, because really that is what this is about. If no one's going to do it, that is what the People for People Corporation is here to do. We are here to educate and to inform. That being said,
be the voice of the people, if you will.
Someone has to be, and it is our obligation, and it is with the support and encouragement of our many fine anonymous donors. You can donate online at p4ppc.org. It is with their help that we are able to spend the time and getting together with our crack team of creative directors to formulate these ads. It's a pleasure to work with our team, and we're very happy to roll out this particular messaging. This particular commercial is to inform people about the investment that the state of Wisconsin is making in the Foxconn deal. And I think it's very important to point out some very specific issues on this. So I will.
So we're going to have a debut right here on the Devil's
Do we have a
Advocates
drum roll?
radio
Do we even
show?
have a drum roll? Maybe not. But
hey, sponsors don't get to call the drum rolls. Leave that to the host.
I will let you call it, but it's an honor to be here, and I can't wait to share it with the audience.
We are the Devil's Advocates radio show. We've been joined in studio by my fine guest, P.D. Salvia Esquire. Mr. Salvia, to you. And we are going to debut. I'm looking forward to hearing this. And I would point out the creative team here at WRD Resistance Radio. Oh, they're the best.
Well, you have a fine team, but
really,
our
really
team
the
over
best.
at the People for People Corporation, they could teach you a few things. Let's play it if you would, please.
But you couldn't do it without the people or the messaging platform.
Absolutely.
We do have our little part to play here
It is
Resistance
a
Radio.
big part. I don't know where else we could go to get this very important message out like we do here at Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Well, before I drive the sponsor crazy, let's debut the newest informational advertising from the People for People Corporation. Find our fine sponsors online. Let me see if I can get this straight. ppc.org. You can find a donate button there. You can get behind the people. You can get behind the message like this fine one, the topic Foxconn.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to Governor Walker.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Another fine, clear message from our fine sponsors and friends like Mr. Salvia Esquire from the People for People Corporation. Seems like that's a little pushback, sir.
Thank you very much, Michael. It's been a pleasure to come up with that one. The motivation has been over the course of this deal being rolled out. It continues to change. And our concern is that
get better, evolve?
It doesn't seem to. It seems to be putting the taxpayers more on the hook for getting less. And of course, as you've talked about in the past, the financial projections and calculations used to prove that this deal is worthwhile, I would submit are fraught with errors and would never be used in any sort of public offering for a stock offering, for example. And I think it's also very important to let everybody know that as a 501c3 registered with the IRS, totally legit, anybody, a corporation or a person, can give tax-deductible donations anonymously to our organization and we will use that money to help educate the people. You can donate today, right now. If you like that ad, you want to hear more education, please go to our website at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. Click on the donate button. It'll be just between you and the People for People Corporation.
Now, Mr. Salvi, I understand and appreciate that explanation, especially for the sake of our audience. But my question, as the owner of this little radio endeavor, WRRD, WTTN Resistance Radio, I've got to ask you, why did the People for People Corporation choose Resistance Radio right now, currently, as their exclusive outlet for messaging?
Michael, it's been very important for us to support those who support us, and we understand the variety of platforms and different outlets that are out there to put messages out there, and we have determined that our most effective platform for messaging our messages and getting our education out is with this fine radio station, its sister station WTTN, and of course on the multiple varied social platforms that your organization offers.
You know, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there are 81 right-wing talk radio stations in the state of Wisconsin churning out 235 hours a day of right-wing talk. And there's the Resistance Radio Network, this little endeavor. There's one in the sister station. It's still just one. How important do you think the people out there, the people listening to the sounds of our voice, Mr. Salvi Esquire, how important is it for the people to get involved? I mean, free speech, as Ron Johnson would tell you, sir, free speech isn't free. To get this message out effectively, even here on the very cost-effectively priced Resistance Radio product, it's still not free. How do the people assure that your organization, the People for People Corporation, will continue messaging, will continue to get the word out, will continue to push back against bad governance?
You know, Michael, it's a great question. Our organization has been around for going on 5 years, and it has been our goal, our mission, to educate the people and let them know what the situation is with regards to politics, open government, money in politics. These are very important issues to us. And in that regard, and I'm glad you mentioned it, while we were working on this most recent ad, it did come to light this number that you spoke about, these conservative stations that put out 235 hours of conservative messaging a day just in the state of Wisconsin. That is going to be one of our future projects, and we hope to, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, again, depending on what kind of reaction we can get. Again, it costs money. It is an endeavor of love, but it is not free. And as we continue to get our donations at the p4ppc.org, we will continue to create the education we believe that is so needed in the state of Wisconsin. Given the numbers that you pointed out, Michael, it is very important for people to get involved. Otherwise, it will just be blown over by alternative messaging, perhaps alternative facts.
Propaganda, we call that.
Certainly could be called propaganda, and we are not for that. We are for the facts at the People for People Corporation. We are for the truth, and we will continue our mission with your help. Go right now to our website, p4ppc.org. Give your anonymous, corporate or personal, tax-deductible donation and help us help you.
Philip Dominic Salvia Esquire, we appreciate you coming in studio and joining us here on the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, and we appreciate everyone listening to the sound of my voice. You know, you the people, we the people, support our fine sponsors like the People for People Corporation. As P. Dominic mentioned, find them at p4ppc.org. Give till it hurts, because we support the good people doing the fine work and the fine messaging, and the only organization that I'm aware of currently messaging against the current bad governance going on here in the state of Wisconsin. And if you think our friends on the right care, they don't care unless you bring your checkbook. Come back with us. Please bring your checkbook. Make it out to the People for People Corporation. It will be tax deductible. That's the way the Republicans would do it. You can write it off on your taxes. Just go ask your accountant. 844-967-2789. Dom will be right back Thank you, P. Dominic Salvia.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
What does the fox say? Where's the money, man? Where's my money?
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies.
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
In the studio, Reuben Harpo, the griot of our community.
The purpose for education is to keep the world from cheating you. And then I read about it in Ebony magazine by Lerone Bennett. Lerone said that, Dr. Mays said that if you're ignorant, the world will cheat you. And if you're weak, the world will kick you. And if you're a coward, the world will keep you running.
The Earl Ingram Show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m., Saturdays, noon to 3 on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Free local same-day delivery. That's right, free local same-day delivery from Origin, Stella, and Chewy's. Order all your favorite products online at MilwaukeePetFood.com. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on the YouTube and Facebook pages. Hit us up on Twitter at Devil Radio. And always, the party line is open. Talk or text 844-967-2789.
Want to thank our most recent guest and fine sponsor, the People for People Corporation. Find them online. Donate generously at numerical number 4, ppc.org. And want to thank that Mr. Salvia Esquire. I really like that Phil.
Yes, certainly a wonderful human being, a gentleman and a scholar.
Sure. What he said. Dominic wanted to get some new fundraising totals. We know Kelda Royce turned the page, dropped a big number yesterday. Relatively speaking, we don't know anyone else's fundraising number, at least amongst the dim gubernatorial candidates. But we know Kelda's sitting on cash. And I don't hear any Kelda ads, just noting that.
Just saying.
Call campaign. Josh Call challenges Brad Schimmel to 8 debates across Wisconsin, while the challenger, the Democrat Josh Call, is calling for debates. I suspect 2 tops. Brad Schimmel does not strike me as a strong debate candidate. I'm just saying. But apparently he's something of a fundraiser, Dom, and we've got his totals. In total, Brad Schimmel, the hack attorney general and corporatist right here in the great state of Wisconsin, has raised $1,621,008.10 for his re-election campaign and $671,000 since the last campaign financing reporting period ended on December 31st. Now, in the little press release that the Schimmel campaign dropped, it's labeled, Attorney General outraises opponents, has more than $1 million cash on hand. But we don't know what Josh Call's fundraising totals are to date, so this seems a little preemptive or fabricated to me.
Well, it'd be nice to know from whence the $1 million came. The spokesperson, Dobler, said our campaign finance report is the latest...
Dobler or Nobler, did you say?
Latest evidence that the Schimmel campaign has broad bipartisan support across Wisconsin.
Bipartisan?
And is poised to
Who's the Dem?
A comprehensive 72-county campaign yet again. And they continue, Josh Call's liberal out-of-state special interest money isn't enough and won't fool Wisconsin voters. He lacks experience, has no plan for the job, and isn't keeping up with our efforts on the ground, says Dobler, Schimmel's spokesweasel.
Well, here's very interesting. They also are making this false claim, I would state. Under Attorney General Brad Schimmel's leadership, the Wisconsin Department of Justice has become a national leader in the fight against prescription painkiller abuse.
But he did not jump on the lawsuit.
No, he would not. He did not. And in fact, marijuana, and we know Brad Schimmel's against the legalization of marijuana, as we talked about with our friend P. Dominic Salvia from the People for People Corporation. Medical marijuana would help reduce the number of people dying from opioids here in the state of Wisconsin. Brad Schimmel would reject any calls for legalization. I don't know how he, defends his position, Dom. And of course, he doesn't stand for the taxpayers. A lot of money expended in treatment, in lost wage, in providing foster care for children whose parents are addicts.
Look at all the rape kits he tested.
In a very timely fashion as well. And he had other people's money, millions of other people's dollars. I mean, kind of like his campaign cash. Millions of other people's dollars. But Brad Schimmel has been a very ineffective attorney general of the state of Wisconsin. I mean, unless you're judging him through the prism of partisan politics, and then if you're a Republican, you probably like this guy quite a bit, because everything he does is not for the taxpayers, not for the people of the state of Wisconsin. This guy looks at everything, every court case, every challenge, every failure to allow a guy to even have his defense attorney. There's one for you, Tony Evers. I mean, it just smacks of hackery, top to bottom. And I would say, quite frankly, having $1 million cash on hand seems like a lot of money to a working stiff. It's not his money, of course. But Kelda Royce is sitting on $650 cash on hand. She's one of 8 Democratic gubernatorial candidates. He's the only AG candidate in the state of Wisconsin on the Republican side. $1 million seems like a lot of money, but it ain't. It's not relatively speaking. You're going to need billions to try and put and paper over the crappy governance and leadership of Wisconsin's supposed top cop. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back. Phone lines open, toll free to you. Kicking ass every day at 844-967-2789. More Devils on Resistance Radio. We'll be right back.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five Nines, we're here to help. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five Nines can help at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to Governor Walker.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxon.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
NATO beefs school massacre lawsuit. I'm Barbara Cusack. President Trump aired grievances over NATO before settling down for a dinner with NATO leaders in Brussels.
After the general meeting, President Trump not only doubled down on criticism of Germany's Russia energy deal, but then the White House put out a statement saying he had called on other nations to spend 4% of GDP on defense. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg put the kibosh on that idea, since it's been hard getting some countries to live up to the current standard.
I will focus on what we have agreed to the pledge increasing defense spending to 2%.
Bob Costantini with the president in Brussels.
Survivors of the Parkland, Florida high school massacre have filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the Broward school superintendent, Broward sheriff, and other law enforcement officers. Recent graduate Audrey Diaz is among the 15 plaintiffs.
They can't underestimate the threat of violence at schools, and that they must ensure that they're prepared and trained so this doesn't happen again, and to ensure that the students are safe.
Producer prices over the past year have climbed at their fastest pace in more than 6 years' time.
The Labor Department says the Producer Price Index, which measures inflationary pressures before they get to the consumer, climbed 0.3% in June. But over the past 12 months, wholesale prices are up 3.4%. That's the biggest gain since the same period measured in November of 2011. Jan Johnson, Washington.
The Senate took action, passing a non-binding resolution designed to give Congress more say about trade penalties imposed by the Trump administration in the name of national security. Stocks took a slide downward as President Trump threatened new tariffs. The Dow dropped 219 points. The S&P 500 was down today by 20 points, and the Nasdaq took a 43-point skid. I'm Barbara Cusack.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
The World Cup final is set.
It will be Croatia against France this Sunday in Moscow. Croatia defeated England 2-1 in extra time in the semifinals to advance to the final for the first time ever. France's only World Cup title came back in 1998 when they hosted the event. The match is scheduled for an 11 a.m. Eastern start. I'm Tim Shovers.
Correspondent Drew Griffin reports a Kremlin-linked internet company was among firms Facebook gave a data collection extension to.
When Mark Zuckerberg told a congressional committee his social network shut down apps that gathered users' personal information, he didn't mention this. A list of 61 app developers Facebook now says were given an extension, the ability to keep gathering data from Facebook users for up to an additional 6 months. Among them, the Russian internet giant Mail.ru.
I'm Barbara Cusack.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A firefighter has died from injuries he received in a natural gas explosion in Sun Prairie last night. Another firefighter is in the hospital in critical condition. The explosion destroyed several buildings in the downtown area. A contractor struck a natural gas main shortly before the explosion. And Bastille Days starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. in downtown Milwaukee. The Free Street Festival, celebrating Milwaukee's French heritage, takes place in and around Cathedral Square Park and goes through Sunday. Outside this afternoon, sunshine, and then partly cloudy tonight. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny in Milwaukee, mostly sunny in Madison. Highs tomorrow in the upper 80s. For Friday, partly sunny with a slight chance of rain in the afternoon and highs in the mid-80s. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour, and I'm happy to announce we will take some calls this hour.
Hey!
844-967-2789. We'll get there in a minute. But Dom, here's some news that might surprise you, but doesn't make me happy. Do you know the competitive Republican Senate primary race going on?
Nicholson and my girl Leah?
Nicholson and Nurse Ratched. Yes, that's the race I'm referencing. You know, they're sparring it out a little bit. Some verbal jabs.
Ooh.
You know the venue? Righty Whitey Talk Radio.
Where else are they going to go? They only have like 83 to choose from.
Righty Whitey Talk Radio. The Republican senatorial candidates are out there scrapping it out on right-wing talk radio. Makes me a little misty to think that a candidate would come round and appear during the campaign on a talk radio platform. My wife asks me sometimes, why can't you just be a righty? More money in it, she says.
Yeah, but your heart's not in it, man. Enough money, perhaps?
At least perhaps the candidates would come round.
No, right? They have to, push back on some negative advertising? Because that seems to be the only time they come around.
Bill Glauber reports the increasingly acrimonious Republican Party primary for U.S. Senate has spilled over to the airwaves this week, with Kevin Nicholson and Leah Vukmir trading verbal jabs on talk radio. One day after Nicholson appeared to dismiss the endorsements Vukmir had received from top Republicans like Paul Ryan and U.S. Rep. Jim Sensenbrenner. I was a little dismissive of those endorsements myself, Don. Vukmir went on the air Wednesday to defend the party's senior leaders. And before I forget to mention it, I did make media inquiry out to the Brad Schimmel campaign. If you're listening, Attorney General Schimmel, there's a spot here for you. And for people that don't know how this little game is played, because, you know, at this point, this is just a vanity project. Long ago given up any hopes of making money at this project. So the way I like to play this little game is, Dom.
How's that?
If you come on the show,
yeah,
I will ask you questions, but I'll let them answer the questions. I might even be respectful to them. Although I might disagree with some of their politics or their ideology. If you come on the show, we act at least deferential, respectful to you. So if you come to my house, I'm basically not going to purposefully embarrass you. I might disagree with you, but I didn't invite you to my house to embarrass you. So that's the little compact I make with the guest on the greatest radio show ever.
Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever.
Ask anyone who's heard Ron Johnson on the show and wishes I'd club him like a baby seal and get very mad when I drink his beer. And, you know, I'm country club cordial, much like he extends the courtesy to us because he shows up. But if you don't come round, well, then I have every freedom to bash you. And I would say that's a bipartisan measure here on the Devil's Advocates.
But we have to extend invitations. We can't just assume people are going to show up. I mean, that would be nice if they did, but it takes some effort on our part. We must also invite.
Dom, I remember in college, they just showed up. Sometimes late at night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, man. I hear you.
I remember a time in my life when I didn't have to beg. Anyways, let's get back to
Ain't too proud to beg.
So, Brad Schimmel, you've been invited on the show. Leah Vukmir's been invited on the show, booked the show, and then overruled her chief of staff. And evermore, she's been known as Nurse Ratched to me. No respect for those who don't honor their appointed rounds.
Oh, no
who
doubt.
won't come round on this fine radio program. That's why I'm so less than respectful. That and the fact I think she's god awful. But she came around. I'd allow her to finish most of her sentences.
Most of them, yes.
Kevin Nicholson, have we invited him?
I have not.
I mean, we've made fun of the fact that his parents have maxed out to Tammy Baldwin's campaign, but we'll have to reach out.
Come on, man. He's an old college Dem back from like 2000. I mean, we have
Had
something
a
in
big
common.
speaking part at the National Convention.
Then he went off to fight a Republican war and came back a Republican.
Apparently. Anyways, Nicholson besmirching the establishment endorsements of Leah Vukmir. Here's a quote, Tom. What the grassroots in Wisconsin can't understand. Why is Kevin not complimentary of our conservative accomplishments, what we've achieved here in Wisconsin? Vukmir whined. Vukmir and Nicholson are vying for the nomination in the August 4th primary. I believe it's August 14th, Bill Glauber. Be a change. It's August 14th, right? Now he's got me double thinking here. With the winner to face Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin. Now, Tammy's been here before, but it's been far too long, Senator.
Yes, please come join us.
The interviews, talking about the Vukmir, Nurse Ratched, and Nicholson interviews were conducted by our friend Dan O'Donnell on Righty Whitey, Bankrupt Heartless Radio. Down the dial, you know which one I mean. Vukmir is endorsed by the GOP candidate, winning the backing of 73% of the delegates at the state party convention. She has also been endorsed by many of the state's elected Republican officials, including 4 House members, Ryan, Sensenbrenner, Duffy, and as Trump would call him, Glenn Grothman.
Grothman.
Where's Glenn?
Where is Glenn?
During his Tuesday interview with Nicholson, O'Donnell pointed out the endorsements Vukmir received from the GOP leaders as well as the backing from Governor Scott Walker's family. The governor hasn't endorsed in the race and has promised to support the winner of the primary. Look, I'm the outsider candidate, Dan, Nicholson said. If you needed any verification, you got it. I could not be more comfortable with the way this race is breaking down. Yeah, because he's been out there on talk radio advertising, messaging for like a year now. He is winning this race despite 73% support at the convention. The insiders support Vukmir, and the Republican talk radio audience is all in for Nicholson, despite the guy's never held elective office, has no profile to speak of, never heard of the guy.
And doesn't get any of the establishment love that Vukmir is getting.
And yet he's winning in the race. I'd point that out to those of you that undermine or do not consider the power of the talk radio format. But I digress, Tom. Anyways, look, I'm not in the political class, and boy, does the political class know it, and does the political class fear it, and rightfully so. I'm going to call them to account for all the many failings, for the things they have not gotten done in Washington, which is pretty much any kind of solution to our spending problems.
Ooh.
Well, that could sting even on a state level, Vukmir.
No doubt about it. Later in the interview, Crudy Nicholson said, if you want an establishment politician who is part of the inside class, who is obviously trying to protect themselves as best they can from the citizenry, boy, don't vote for me. He said he wasn't going to Washington to become part of the political class, adding, quote, the other members of the delegation, they can be nervous about this all they want, but I'm not going there to be their friend. On Wednesday, Leah Vukmir, my girl, said Nicholson, quote, can't have it both ways. She claimed Nicholson condemned Walker, her and her colleagues as insiders, while also touting endorsements he has received from U.S. Senators Ted Cruz of Texas and Mike Lee of Utah.
I don't think Ted Cruz is anybody's insider.
And Mike
I don't
Lee?
even think he's an insider at the Cruz family. Have you seen the kid videos of him? They don't even like Dad.
Pulling away. Yeah, that's just some scary, creepy pictures, man. Nicholson did not mention the governor in Tuesday's interview. Vukmir was asked by O'Donnell if Nicholson had made a point that politicians who know each other simply endorse their friends. Here's what she said. What that shows is he clearly doesn't understand Wisconsin politics, and let's face it, he hasn't lived here his whole life, as I have. Nicholson, born in Milwaukee, attended the University of Minnesota and was in the U.S. Marine Corps and attended grad school before returning to Wisconsin. My opponent can continue to dismiss my record, the governor's record, she said, but it's not sticking.
Actually, the polling says it indeed is sticking.
Tuesday's launch of an ad by a pro-Vukmir group called Wisconsin Next PAC continues to reverberate in the campaign. The ad focused on Nicholson's past support for abortion rights at the 2000 DNC, where he spoke as president of the College Democrats of America. President Trump needs an ally he can trust in the U.S. Senate. That's not Kevin Nicholson, a narrator in the ad said.
Was she trying to encourage crossover voting for Nicholson?
On Wednesday, an arm of the National Club for Growth, which has endorsed Nicholson, launched an ad touting him as a Marine veteran outsider and conservative. President Trump needs fighters in the Senate, the ad said. Fighters like Kevin Nicholson. Well, so now the third-party war starts waging.
Oh, it's been going on the whole time.
The proxy wars.
The widow Hendricks and the Uline family, right? They've been funding on both sides of the aisle. Depending
the Club for Growth is a different one now. That's
the Koch brothers
right?
extension, and they've been in for Nicholson.
They're in for Nicholson. The widow Hendricks is in for Vukmir.
Yeah.
And Uline's for whom?
Uline's funded much of the right-wing talk radio airwaves that have been purchased by the Nicholson super PACs and other associated things. We'll see. I think that this race has been very interesting.
It's going to get more interesting.
And as you've got the candidates and their respective campaigns, and then you got the third-party spending. I mean, right-wing talk radio, they must be getting flush. Wonder what that's like.
I have no idea.
You would think that each side would go to their respective bases right now and try to win the votes of primary voters.
And it is, the primary is August 14th. Today is July 11th. Now, we don't like to do math, but that's just over a month away.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. Going to go to break pretty quick.
I mean, if someone doesn't come around, some of these candidates don't come around and tell me what their messages may be, then I'm going to have to assume what they are. I mean, what else can I possibly do?
So, do you think someone's running the campaign of Hillary Clinton here in the state of Wisconsin? Let's discuss that when we come back. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open and toll free at 844-967-2789.
I will call them from now on losers, because that's what they are. They're losers.
I'm Senator Leah Vukmir. I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Evil losers.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
I'm Andy Buck, field representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on enemy anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
5 9s, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about. Tom and Kreutz are the devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Streaming live on the YouTube and Facebook pages. We are on Twitter at Devil Radio. And the phone lines are open, 844-967-2789.
Dominic found a troubling headline at the Politico overnight. Wisconsin Democrats fear another debacle in November.
Uh-oh.
Both parties say Liberal Tammy Baldwin is the frontrunner in Wisconsin's Senate race. Don't tell that to Baldwin. James Arkin reports, but we're going to go to the phones first. 844-967-2789. Ignacio, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, listen, upon watching our so-called president address the NATO people for breakfast, I was embarrassed, to be honest, to be called an American. This guy that we have as a president is a clown. How he can disparage somebody that's been in high-level government for so long, the NATO guy, it's embarrassing. You know, so much so that if I were to win the lotto, I would run for president, and I would run against Trump, no problem. Because it made me so mad to see that he had no respect. You know, it's all about, diplomacy isn't just about having fake respect. It's about having respect for people in the position and to negotiate. This guy hasn't negotiated jack diddly squat, and he claims he's a great negotiator and all this other crap. The president is a buffoon, and it really burdens me to say this, because the office of the presidency is something that we should have respect for. But when you have someone that has no respect for other people, that is really bad. I mean, I am ashamed. And one good thing, though, I will tell you, though, is that the Senate finally got some backbone and stood up and wrote a resolution condemning the president on his behavior, 97-2, which is amazing considering that the Republicans have control of the Senate. That means all the other Democrats got on board too, except for two, whoever they were, whatever party they were, it doesn't matter. But it goes to show that at least finally the Senate got some backbone to say, hey, wait a minute, you can't be disparaging the NATO this way. America's got to wake up and open their eyes and say, hey, enough's enough. I mean, I understand it was kind of cute in the beginning because we used to make fun of people and stuff. But now it's gotten to a point where it's not only embarrassing to me and my friends, it's embarrassing to be an American. Imagine when we travel overseas, what they say about us.
Oh, sorry, Ignacio. I thought you were done there. My understanding is the embassy in Great Britain is warning American citizens, keep your head down while Trump's in town. You may not be so popular, you Yanks. And while I would agree with you, this man's policy has been essentially Jack Diddley squat, I think's the word you used, Ignacio. But I think he would perceive it as lots and lots of winning. And I think there are conservatives out there. I mean, hell, how else do you explain the loyalty this party is showing to Donald Trump? They think he's being strong. They love when he roughs up Angela Merkel. They love when he makes up lies on the spot. They love the fact that this guy is strong. Now, I think he's strong and wrong, but it is, and it's starting to feel like too much winning.
To get to Ignacio's point, a 97-2 vote, as he mentioned, the Senate took a bipartisan swipe at Trump on Tuesday when it overwhelmingly approved a motion of support for NATO, 97-2.
Begs the question, who are the two?
Right. I don't see it here on CNN. And this is comes after the Senate voted 88-11 on a non-binding resolution that sends a message to the White House about how frustrated these senators are over Trump's tariff moves.
Ooh, that's so strong, Republicans. A non-binding resolution. Ooh, his wrist must be quite sore from the slapping.
Are you clutching your pearls, Crudy?
I got the vapors. Oh. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open 844-967-2789. Coming back to this political piece. Wisconsin Democrats fear another debacle in November. I would wonder, what the hell are they doing to change the trajectory of that outcome?
Sail away. Oh, oh, hey, hey. Slide on down. Oh, oh, hey, hey. What's lost you gave away. Straight bullets raining on down, down, down. Straight bullets raining on down.
Nobody can do it like me. Nobody. Nobody can do it like me.
Well, he always did have an inflated opinion of himself.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad.
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. So, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
You concerned about speaking up at work? Do you feel like you have no say in your day-to-day work routine? Join Teamsters Local 344. Call 414-258-4545. Get a seat at the table. Join your brothers and sisters in negotiating for better wages, hours, and working conditions, and be part of the most powerful union in North America. Teamsters Local 344 covers sales and service throughout Southeast Wisconsin and package and airlines statewide. Contact Teamsters Local 344 at 414-258-4545 or at local344.org.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Senator Bernie Sanders will be joining Senator Tammy Baldwin for a rally this Saturday in Eau Claire. The rally will be held at the Lismore Hotel, and the doors open at 8 a.m. Bastille Days starts tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in downtown Milwaukee. The Free Street Festival celebrating Milwaukee's French heritage takes place in and around Cathedral Square Park and goes through Sunday. This Friday is the first River West food truck rally in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood, and the Brewers beat the Marlins last night 8-4. The series finale of that three-game series is tonight in Miami. Outside this afternoon, sunshine, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny in Milwaukee, mostly sunny in Madison, highs tomorrow in the upper 80s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's the happy hour. You can join us here on the phones, toll free. Call or text at 844-967-2789. I don't know why I depend upon you to read the text. You never read them to the audience. It's almost as we're unimportant to you, Tom.
Come on, there's only so much.
Because I am also part of the audience. You've got the texter. I mean, I could pull it up, but that would take effort on my part. I depend upon you to read the text, and occasionally, at least the clever ones, to read them aloud.
Yeah, the problem with that, if we don't get
no
to it
clever
in time,
text,
that it pertains to some of them, topics we already went past. So, I can't bring up old things. Now let's get to the phones.
The Devil's Advocates forward.
844-967-2789. Jake the Snake from Milwaukee. Hey, Jake, welcome back to the show. What do you got today?
Yeah, that SD Salvia guy was really awesome.
Yeah,
you should.
I was much less impressed, Jake.
Really? I mean, he dresses better. I mean, Dom looks like he just rolls out of the ditch and then comes to the show. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Jake.
That's not how he looks. That's just how he smells, Jake.
Come on.
Oh, ow.
See.
Wow, no wonder my crew likes doing this. I'm starting to like it too. Anyways, I
think beating on Dom is quite a pursuit.
All right, man. That's all right, Jake. I can take it, man.
I know. No, I'm but about the Democrats fearing of losing. Well, I can understand some of the other races are kind of hard. Like governor right now, they don't have tons of money. Probably waiting for who's ever crowned to start advertising more and going to the base. But I really kind of cross at Tammy Baldwin, to be honest. She's going around looking for Trump supporters to vote for her, who pretty much probably just hate her because she's gay and a Democrat and liberal.
No, she's not the way she's portraying herself. She's pro-union and made in the USA, and she's going to get those Reagan Democrats back come heck or high water. That's my impression of her campaign.
I think it's going to fail, to be quite honest. She needs to get the people out in the areas that will support her. I mean, I'm going to vote for her anyways because I don't vote Republican anymore for anything, period, zero. They're a bunch of traitors in my view, and
Jake,
horrible human beings.
To hear Leah Buchmer tell it, young Nicholson's not a Republican.
He's probably just a grifter. I understand that. So, I mean, there's grifters everywhere. But Nicholson's probably going to beat her, too, because he's got a billionaire and she's got nothing.
No, she's got her own billionaire. She's just very unattractive as a candidate. And I don't mean, physically. Of course, I think that the ugly comes from the inside and works its way out. But I just find her, ideology completely unattractive. And it's not just the fact she stiffed us on the show. It's the fact that she's really a horrible human being, sir.
Yeah, and pretty much most of them are. I mean, they're all about themselves and wanting to, they just use government to enrich themselves. They're not public servants. They're business people who want to take your tax dollars and put the money in their pockets and their campaign donors' pockets.
Jake, let me ask you, from your take then, how do you think the Baldwin campaign should be, what should they be saying? What should they be doing, in your opinion, to get you more motivated than you are right now for her campaign?
Well, they need to stop ignoring us. They need to advertise on your station some, but just not that. I mean, there's no one walking around. I don't see anything in Milwaukee at all to say, hey, vote for Tammy Baldwin. She has your interests. I mean, and there's more voters here in Madison in certain areas that can make the difference for her, but she's ignoring them.
Well, the voters, to my perception, Jake, that will make a difference is Milwaukee, and that's why I bought a radio station here. It wasn't simply that I thought I was going to get rich on the radio, because that's never going to happen. It was that I was trying to change the electoral outcomes. And the city of Madison, I've lived there most of my life, Jake. The good news is it continues to get bluer and bluer. That community, as Epic hires and other big white-collar industries hire, they're hiring in lots of people that believe in science. And what do you know? Many of them vote Democrat. But right here in Milwaukee, they stayed home, Jake. And they stayed home maybe because of the trolls, maybe because of the voter suppression efforts. But I think in no small part because candidates didn't come around and ask them for their votes in a message that resonated with them. And I think you got to do that on talk radio. I think you got to do that in the neighborhoods. I think you got to do that in personal appearances. But there are voters south of Portage, and our friend Tammy Baldwin, who hasn't been coming around this station, has been spending most of her time north of Portage.
Yeah. So, I don't know. All I can say is she'll hopefully win this one, but, she should be worried about being primaried later on by some younger progressive.
Oh, she's got 6 years to worry about that. She's not going to get primaried anytime soon. By the time she's up for re-election, assuming she wins this race, Jake, and we appreciate your call, be like Jake at 844-967-2789. Tammy ain't worried about a future primary at this point.
No, she's got to get
Tammy should be worried about winning the current electoral cycle.
Before we get into this piece, could you help me remember? I remember having a conversation not so long ago with Kathleen Vinehout talking about the voters, the body of voters, the sample of voters that came out this last election cycle.
They're different voters. The people that voted for Donald Trump, and I would say this could have been the case for Democrats. We could have seen this hidden electorate come out and vote for Bernie Sanders. Didn't work out as such. Instead, there was a different population. I don't think there was a lot of overlap. As much as the Hillary people would like to blame it on the Bernie people, I don't think there were tons of Bernie people that went out and voted for Donald Trump. That Venn diagram, very little overlap.
Right.
But they were new, different, not card-carrying Dems. People felt passion for his candidacy, his authenticity, and the message, this very populist message that, hey, the rich people are screwing us. And maybe it's time we stood together and did something about it. Healthcare, an affordable college or free college. Things like that. Those messages resonated. Even a cantankerous old man like Bernie Sanders, people love Bernie. Animals love Bernie. Everybody loved Bernie. And the state of Wisconsin loved Bernie. And Bernie turned out people in the primary. Now, ultimately, he didn't win. He didn't win the primary across the country. He was not the general election candidate.
So do you think then some of those voters that came out for Trump that had never really been perhaps involved in the political process before, perhaps had never really voted, in some regards are similar to the Bernie supporters that maybe had not been involved or had not been motivated to vote for, regularly and for a Democrat?
I think they were not the card-carrying, Leah Vukmir-loving traditional Republicans in many cases. Now, mind you, the card-carrying traditional Republicans, they came home for Trump. Trump got the same number of votes in the state, relatively speaking, as Mitt Romney. The problem wasn't that right-wing talk radio couldn't turn out its base. They did. The very same state where Ted Cruz, the most pugnacious, I would love, you would be right to punch Ted Cruz, rhetorically speaking. He's got the most punchable face in America. And he won the state of Wisconsin by double digits in the primary. And how did that happen? Right-wing talk radio said, never Trump, never Trump. And it was never Trump until Trump won the primary in Indiana after you sunk Ted Cruz's candidacy. And Trump was the nominee. And then it's the general election time. And I know it was about shenanigans with the Supreme Court. And I know that so many Republicans and apparently some Democrats found Hillary Clinton to be an unpalatable candidate. But ultimately, the Donald Trump voters turned out, and the Donald Trump voters were the base Republicans, and then these newly inspired people that just wanted to throw a wrench in the political works. And they weren't the people that typically came out and voted. They weren't the people that typically responded to telephone polls. In fact, when they got polled, they didn't want to answer. They were a little embarrassed to say they were going to go vote for Trump. They were going to stick it to the system,
Do you think
and they did.
That then it's erroneous to think that that particular subset of people are going to be turned by...
Those voters aren't voting Dem. Those are not the same voters. They might be from the same geographic locations. No doubt, especially around the Mississippi River, there were locations that we can look to and say, you know what, that county, that district, it was a Trump district after it was an Obama district. You shake your head and go, how could that be possible? Or that was a Obama district that was a Walker district. But I think there's very little overlap in those actual voters. I don't think that's a big Venn diagram either. The people that voted for Donald Trump aren't going to suddenly say, you know that Tammy Baldwin, she's swell. I'm going to vote for her. That is not the same voter. She is not going to capture those people. Now, I've got some union buddies who tell me, we like Tammy's message. We like Buy American. No doubt. But the unions, and we love the unions, especially the Teamsters, 200, 344, the International, where are the painters? UPAC, DC 7, District Council 7, the painters, they were in here yesterday with you, Dom. We love the unions. We know that these guys are the heart and the backbone of America and the state of Wisconsin. But so are African-American voters right here in Milwaukee. So are progressive voters in Dane County. You can't assume the base is going to be inspired to come out and vote for you if you don't come looking for their votes. Just ask Hillary Clinton. Never asked for your vote, did she, Dom?
Never did.
Never got it. Come back with us. 844-967-2789.
If you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody could convict you.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
On marijuana, unfortunately, as a public health issue and a public safety issue, I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's three big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Radio for the 99%.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. So if you've got something to say, now is the time at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I got something to say. That little conga line photo, perhaps our audience has seen it on the social mediums. I mean, if that is not the squarest group of Republicans conga lining, and it's, Scott Walker in a pair of shorts and a plaid shirt, sort of calico, and Leah Vukmer in a nice sundress, and they're doing some sort of squarish Republican conga line. And I've pointed out, Dom, I've been trying to freshen up the Facebook photo each and every day. And someone got out the, what's the little...
The
little creative artistic insertion.
Kuchka did it.
Of one character, and that character looks like Dominic Trump.
It's me doing my best Donald Trump. Thank you, Kuchka, for inserting me into the Walker Vukmir conga line.
You fit right in. They're following your leadership, moving the conga line forward. Let's jump into this article I keep threatening. James Arkin at Politico. Wisconsin Democrats fear another debacle in November. Dateline Portage. Senator Tammy Baldwin wants everyone to know she could lose. You know what, Dom? She could lose. But probably won't. I'm going to keep reading. It's an unusual message for any candidate, but the liberal Democrat from Wisconsin is sounding the alarm after Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer effectively declared the first-term senator a favorite to keep her seat in November by leaving her off the list of top-tier Senate races. After their pronouncements, major outside groups in both parties skipped Wisconsin in their initial $120 million of spending plan for this fall, triggering fears among state Democrats that the party will take victory for granted. Well, thank goodness they never took Wisconsin for granted before.
No.
But there's palpable concern here amongst Democrats, and Baldwin especially, that Wisconsin is ripe for a repeat of 2016 when Donald Trump carried the state by less than a percentage point and Dominic's best buddy, GOP Senator Ron Johnson, surged to a surprise re-election behind a flood of late spending from conservative groups. Dom, they were so thorough, they were even advertising for Rojo in our show.
Back in Heartless Radio back in the day?
Back in those days. Here's a quote. My first reaction when someone said Mitch McConnell said something about Wisconsin not being on the list, I said, tell that to the Koch brothers network. Please tell that to Richard Uline, Baldwin said Thursday in an interview at the local diner after chatting with a few late afternoon patrons. She was name-checking top GOP donors who have already invested millions against her despite the views of National Party leaders. Baldwin might have reason to worry. She's the most liberal of 10 Democrats up for re-election in states Trump won. She voted with the president just 22% of the time, the lowest amongst her 2018 colleagues, and is the only one to support Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan. A near constant refrain from the Republicans is that she's out of touch with her state. They say she represents only the Isthmus of Madison. Sanders will rally with Baldwin in the state this weekend, which has only fueled those attacks. She's from the left wing of the Democratic Party, House Speaker Paul Ryan told a crowd of more than 100 Republicans at a Friday evening rally for one of Baldwin's potential Republican opponents, Leah Buchmer. They're actually advancing goofy ideas these days. It's just crazy stuff. And that is exactly where Tammy is. Buchmer had a finer point on it. She stands so far to the left that she makes Chuck Schumer look like a moderate, if that's possible. That's my Buchmer. Despite the incoming, Baldwin, 56, has put herself in a relatively strong position to win. She's been hugely successful fundraiser. About $5 million a quarter, Dom. I don't want to see another solicitation saying, hey, I don't have any money. She's got lots of money. And polls show she has a substantial lead over both her potential opponents who are slugging it out ahead of the mid-August primary. Baldwin is using the time to her advantage by doing a re-election two-step. Counting on liberal enthusiasm and backlash against Trump in the deep blue parts of the state. That means she doesn't come around Madison or Milwaukee much, Dom.
She's counting on it.
She's counting on your enthusiasm, audience. Not asking for it, but counting on it. Hope it's there when she needs it. While holding small events throughout the rural Wisconsin, talking up her American first bona fides in a pitch to win over some blue-collar supporters. I got one more quote for you, Dom. I wish more Republicans were like Trump on Buy American policies, Baldwin said in an interview. Jesus Christ, Tammy. She spoke with Politico a few hours after announcing during a visit to a factory that traces its Wisconsin history to 1859, new legislation to ensure that the use of American steel and aluminum in federally funded infrastructure projects. Tammy, the words, Jesus, you go.
I'll continue. Republicans and Democrats in Wisconsin say the race continues to be overlooked nationally, with the possibility of defeating Democrats in states like Indiana, Missouri, and North Dakota, where Trump won by anywhere from 19 to nearly 40 percentage points. His 0.7% win in Wisconsin can seem insignificant. Plus, unlike the deep red states, Wisconsin has population centers in Madison and Milwaukee that are heavily Democratic. Baldwin has already faced millions of dollars in attack ads, and she lacks the bipartisan reputation that the red state Democrats like North Dakota's Heidi Heitkamp and West Virginia's Joe Manchin enjoy. Hoping to improve her standing among independents, her campaign has spent $3.4 million on positive ads concerning healthcare, the opioid crisis, and manufacturing. But a late June poll from Marquette University showed her with a 41% favorability rating versus 43% of voters who view her unfavorably.
That means she's underwater, Dom.
Chris Wilson, a GOP pollster working for Republican Kevin Nicholson's campaign, said she understands why Republicans are prioritizing other states with more conservative voters than Wisconsin has. Still, he argued, the state is definitely in play. Baldwin is very vulnerable, Wilson said. Democrats disagree. Thad Nation, a veteran consultant based in Milwaukee, said, quote, we'd be fools to sit back and think this race was over. He added, we just went through this in 2016. We just lost. The nervousness stems from flashbacks to the 2016 loss and to the belief that Baldwin will again emerge as a top target for late outside spending. Russ Feingold, the former Democratic senator who ran for his old seat in 2016, led Johnson by nearly double digits before a spectacular collapse in the final weeks of the race, triggered in part by a massive influx of conservative dollars. Democrats responded much too late. National Democrats
Russ Feingold responded much too late. No offense to Russ, but poorly run campaign. Russ, where were you? He was like Hillary, not to be found. He was hoping that the base would be enthusiastic and turn out. But Republicans turn out their base. They use right-wing talk radio. They pour messaging dollars. They start doing it well before the election. They give you reason. They give you reason to get out and vote. And the Democrats, we hope, and send thoughts and prayers.
Counting on the enthusiasm from progressives, not courting it, not encouraging it, inflaming it.
I would call that taking it for granted. And that works so well for Hillary.
Not really.
And Russ.
Nope.
Folks, we're the devil's advocates. I kind of pay attention in the state. I watch the electoral process. And I would encourage all, Republicans or Democrats, you've got to turn out your own base. And if you take our base for granted, they will stay home. And you better inspire some new voters. You're not going to get the Trump voters. That's just one man's prediction. We are the Devil's Advocates. We'll do it again tomorrow because that's what super cool radio hosts do. We know everything, and we're right like 60% of the time. Hope to see you on the radio. Have a great night.
What happened?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I loved my previous life. I had so many things going.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers,